Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the college football show. It is week 6. I had a pretty good week last week.
Yes, you did.
Felt pretty good about it. We're going to go through the recap here momentarily. But before we do, we've already got guys in the comments section. If you would, go ahead and jump in there. You can leave your opinion. Tell us what picks you like this week. Tom Lowe already jumps in. He's got 3 picks this week, Florida, Georgia, and LSU. He wants 2 more, and we're going to give them to him. Throughout the course of the show, we're going to talk about all of it. Of course, our picks are at the end of it. But do yourself a favor before we do anything else. Whenever this is done, down in the description, you can go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. They got all the best stuff for the entire college football universe. They go over every game, all that good stuff. We've got a great crew over there. Chris and I also write articles on Thursdays that will go up there. Just go check it out. Ton of stuff there. You're going to love it. Make sure you like the video, that you subscribe to the channel, because we're here at 3 times a week at least, and sometimes more. We want to make sure you've got the most coverage possible, so we're going to be here with you through the entire college football season. Week 6 looks like a dandy, and I cannot wait to get started. Let's go through our recap from week number 5 before we do anything else. I went 5-1 in my picks. That puts me at 19-12-1 overall. That is a 61.29% clip.
Pretty strong, man.
It's not bad to start off, especially
pretty strong.
Now, I will say this. It is a strange year. This is basically flipping a coin. I feel like I've got an advantage, and so far it's showing, but who knows at this point, right? Who knows?
Well, I sure as hell don't.
Chris, do you want to talk about your record? Or
Well, I went 4-4.
4-4 is not bad. So 11-17 overall.
That is the first weekend I didn't finish below 500.
So at least we're getting there. But yes, I'm with you. This is not a hole that you can't get yourself out of.
Nah.
6 games below 500 ain't that bad. So in the grand scheme of things, we're doing all right, especially for not knowing who's playing quarterback most weeks, who's sitting out with the virus or whatever. Who knows, right?
Teams have gone 4 or 5 weeks without playing a ball game.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they're playing one.
It's a crapshoot, basically. But we gotten lucky. We'll say that. We feel like we've got an edge, and we're gonna let you know what our edge is, of course. But yeah, it's basically just a flip of a coin for the most part. So we'll give you our reasoning for our picks, of course, no worries. But before we do that, before we jump into these games, here is what you need to know. There is a Pick 6 contest over at sbrpicks.com/pick6, and that is the number 6. You can find the link down in the description below on YouTube. Here's the briefing on it. SBR hosts a $50,000 contest during football season. All you have to do is make 6 picks a week in college football and or the NFL spreads and totals. If you finish 6-0 or in the top 10, you win your share of the $50,000. Remember, you must be an SBR Pro to receive your full prize. If you hadn't signed up yet, not a big deal, not to worry. You are still eligible for $1,600 in weekly cash prizes. A lot of money.
That's pretty good.
A lot of money. Registration is free if you've not registered for the contest yet and want to read more information about it. Head over to sbrpicks.com/pick6, and that is PICK and the number 6. So go and check that out. You can compete in college football and the NFL. If you like games in both, it's all good. Knock it out. So do yourself that favor, knock that out. And then while you're at it, go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF and help us out. Go read some of our stuff. All right. Game number 1. It is the biggest game of the weekend, probably the biggest game of the entire year to this point.
To this point, yes, I agree.
Miami, Florida is headed over to Clemson, South Carolina. Clemson currently a 14-point favorite at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. The total sits at 63.5. Both of these numbers seem about right.
I think so.
The analytics have Clemson as a 17.5-point favorite. Now, for those that are just watching the show for the first time, I pull up what the average analytical score will be, or the average analytical margin will be over at thepredictiontracker.com. Give those guys a shout out. Look, Miami has been a 14-point underdog never since 2015.
I was just about to say,
It's
I can't
insane.
remember a time. It's been a long time.
Yes. In 2017, these two teams played. Clemson won 38-3. In 2015, they played. Clemson won 58-0. Just destroyed them. Now, this Miami team, significantly different than those.
Appears to be.
Yes, Rhett Lashley, De'Aaron King, those guys have really reshaped this entire Miami team by just getting somebody competent in the head chair and in the quarterback position.
Yes.
This team can run the football. Now, granted, it's been against not great teams thus far. UAB is pretty good. UAB has really kept it the closest, even though by score, Louisville was closer.
There's a massive talent difference between this team and UAB, right?
Yes, big time. Clemson 0-3 against the spread so far this year. They have not covered a game. That's a far cry from last year where they were 10-3 in the regular season. And I guess if you count the ACC championship game against Virginia. Miami is 3-0 against the spread. They have covered every game. And 14 looked massive to me until I realized, oh, wait, this is Clemson. This is what we do, right? So in the last 19 games, Clemson was an average of a 24.5-point favorite. Oh, no, not an average. Sorry, Clemson was a 24.5-point favorite every time except for once. They were a 16-point favorite against Texas A&M. They did not cover that game. It was 24-10, and A&M ran out the clock.
That's right.
And made sure they got that last touchdown
backdoor
to
cover.
Yep.
I was on that game last year.
So the shortest line that Clemson has had in the last 20 games is, in fact, this one. The other one that was close to it, they did not cover. So what does that mean? I would guess that Clemson has been waiting up for this game.
I think so. I don't think what we've seen from Clemson so far has been anything special, but I think that is by design.
Yes, I agree. Last week against Virginia, they allowed some yardage. They didn't look great. They just kind of came out, ran through the motions, and they
haven't looked great in a single game yet.
No.
But we assume that's just because they just don't care to be there.
They did in the first half against Citadel and then didn't score in the second half.
It's Citadel.
But that's the thing, right? Like, they come out, they blow you out of the water early. Now, they didn't do that against Virginia. That was kind of surprising. They went up 24-3 and then kind of
sat on it.
Yes. I mean, my God, for me having a -17 first half line, and then they allow Virginia to come right down the field in 3 plays. I mean, it's just at the end of the first half, too, just ridiculous. So my guess would be that Clemson will cover this number. I still don't trust Miami yet because I haven't seen them do it against a good team yet.
Yep.
And that's saying that Louisville is not a good team, you know, or at least not a team that's comparable. This is not going to be one of my official picks. I'm staying away from that one.
Yes, I agree. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yes, I think
it's going to be a great ball game.
Yes, I think it's going to be a good game. We've got guys in the chat already. Talia Turner said, love the show. We appreciate
Thank
that,
you.
of course. Chad says, Charlotte -3 against North Texas. Random pick. Hey, cheers to you. I ain't touching Charlotte right now. They hadn't played in forever. I don't know I know they played last week, but either way. Talia Turner said Clemson in the over. Chad said Syracuse +2.5 against Duke. Yeah, we got some crazy stuff. And then Tom Lowe wants to know about BYU. We're not talking about that one. He said -34.5, not enough or too much. Chad said it's too much against UTSA. I will tell you this. I am never betting against BYU again this season.
Not enough.
It's just not happening. I don't think it's enough. I think they're going to destroy everybody. It's unreal. Moving on to game number 2. Tennessee heads over to Athens. They're playing between the hedges. Well, I cannot talk today. Good gracious. Georgia, a 12.5-point favorite, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on CBS. The total all the way down to 42.5. It's not a big number for the total. It seems like kind of a big number. Now, this opened at 14. Georgia as a favorite.
Yep. It's come down.
The prediction tracker has it as an average of Georgia -15.7. It's a lot of points. But I think the game that we expected last week between Georgia and Auburn is the game that we are going to get
this week.
Between Jeremy Pruitt and Kirby Smart. These are two guys that love to run the football, that want to play smash mouth.
Yeah, they want to slow the game down. They both want to slow the game down.
You see this thing I wrote right here?
What's that?
That's old school slobber knocker.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're going to get. Now, we may even have, some rain, some hurricane type stuff coming through on Saturday that may end up getting to Athens in time. Maybe. We'll see. But, if you can give me rain, and you can give me these two head coaches, good gracious. Tennessee, 1-3 against the spread against Georgia in the last 4 seasons. Tennessee has covered 5 straight with 4 straight-up wins as an underdog since last season coming into this season. They are 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 as a road dog. That's not bad.
No.
Tennessee has covered 3 of the last 4 in Athens. So they have played well, and that's under Butch Jones and whatnot.
I was just about to say, that wasn't even really under Pruitt except for one of those, right?
Yep, correct. So Georgia, 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 as a 10-point favorite. They don't do well covering big numbers. Now, they do really well covering smaller numbers, but like they did last week. But 12.5 seems like a ton of points here. I'm not going to bet this one. I'm just going to watch and enjoy.
Staying
away because it's right there teetering. I think Georgia wins the game. I think Georgia probably wins it by like 10. I think they've just got significantly more talent. But, what are your thoughts here?
I mean, I like Tennessee to keep it closer than people think, mainly because I think Tennessee is one of those teams that's on the rise. They've been bullied and pushed around in the East for a long time.
Yes.
They are still significantly less than Florida and Georgia in talent-wise, but I think that gap is getting smaller every year, and they feel like they can compete at a different level.
Very much. If we get a good Jarrett Guarantano from Tennessee,
agreed, then
Tennessee has a chance to pull an upset here.
Yes, I do think there's a world in which Tennessee can win the game.
I do think that Georgia has the better lines, offensive and defensive.
No question.
But I will tell you this: it ain't that far apart.
No, it's not. It's not a world better, but they just have better talent across the board.
Yes,
they're just indeed a better football team, athlete wise.
Darren McCardle jumped in and said this game won't be second string.
No.
Yeah, you got that.
No, it definitely won't.
You got that right.
I don't think we'll see that.
Let's move on. Game number 3 on the list. It is the Red River rivalry. Usually it has more implications than this year, but I don't know. Maybe it's big implications this year. We've got Oklahoma and Tennessee, Oklahoma and Texas playing in the Cotton Bowl with nobody there. The Texas State Fair is not happening, but we are still knocking this thing out in Dallas. Oklahoma, a 1.5-point favorite. The total sits at 72. It's going to be 12 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. Of course, big noon kickoff. This is a massive game. It's always a big deal. Only this year, it may be more of an elimination game than anything else. Oklahoma coming off of 2.
If Oklahoma loses, if they start the season off 0-3 in conference play,
that's bad. And Texas on the other side,
they'll be DFL in the conference if they lose this game.
Well, I mean, they already are, but even more so.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
You go 0-3, that is a hole that you cannot get out of. Like it's impossible.
No, it's over.
Let's see. Boxing First Vlog jumps in, said Texas beats Oklahoma. That may not be too terribly wrong. The prediction tracker has Texas as a 1.5-point favorite. Oklahoma 1-7 against the spread versus Texas. Their only cover was in the Big 12 championship game 2 years ago. Oklahoma 7-3 straight up in their last 10 against Texas. But here's the deal. The line has always been really far apart.
Yes.
Everybody always overreacts, thinks that Oklahoma 100%. Is so much better than they actually are. And Texas has been kind of not good. Tom Herman has actually improved the program as far as that goes. But they are not back to national championship level, which everybody thought he could just snap his fingers and they'd be back.
Show up at Texas and he could win.
Yep. And that's the issue with it, right? It's just the total 72. It's a lot of points.
It's weird that we talked about this off air. I saw a couple of SEC games and they were big totals. And my thought was, that ain't enough points. And then I saw this game. Neither of these teams play defense. I still don't trust them to score all the time. That's the problem. I know that nobody can tackle anybody, but if we have just a ton of turnovers, then you're not getting the ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
And these guys are just giving the ball away, like it's just insane. One up and one another for Christmas.
Yes. I mean, look, Texas TCU did not get to 70 last week.
No.
Oklahoma and Iowa State did not get to 70 last week either.
And you're a snap of defense was played.
You're banking on who is going to make the most errors.
Yes.
Right? And you're hoping that somebody can get into the end zone. And I would imagine, the last however many have all gone into the 80s between these two.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But there's just a lot of mistakes being made.
They're just both playing insanely sloppy.
Yes.
They don't play defense, but on offense, they're not playing well either.
Not fundamentally sound. Neither team can tackle, really.
It's just it's a disaster. It's the weirdest Texas-Oklahoma game I've seen in my lifetime that I can remember.
I think it is going to be incredibly entertaining.
I do too.
I mean, just
really
unbelievably entertaining, because I think that both are going to make massive mistakes. People are going to be questioning things on both sides. Well, if I hadn't done that, then this would have,
Let me ask you this. Will a coach, not a head coach, will a defensive coordinator be fired after this game?
No, because Chris Ash is in his first season, and Alex Grinch is only in his second season. So nobody's getting fired after this. I don't believe.
Oklahoma starts off 0-3 in conference. Somebody on that staff ain't going home.
Alex Martin jumped in on YouTube, and this is a very happening rumor right now with Texas fans. He said, regardless if we beat Oklahoma, Texas still needs to hire Urban Meyer. Hook 'em. I don't think the Urban Meyer thing is happening. I could be completely wrong.
God.
We've seen other fan bases do this, right? USC did it last year. It ain't happening. Urban Meyer ain't coming to coach at Texas. It's just not happening.
Your soul. Go ahead.
Oh, good gracious.
Golly.
All right. Moving off of so if you had to pick, I would take Texas.
I think I would take Oklahoma. I can't imagine Oklahoma losing 3 games in a row. That's it. That's my only logic is I've never in my life can remember a time Oklahoma lost 3 games in a row. That I don't have any other stats, situations. Texas kind of looks like that. I trust Sam more than
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
Yep.
I just nothing tells me that that's the right play. I'm definitely not betting it. I'm not going to put one nickel on either one of these teams for a while.
I'm going with the senior quarterback over the freshman quarterback.
That makes sense. Normally that is my play.
If Ingram does not fumble at the 1 yard line against TCU, Texas is favored in this game. But that's the thing. He fumbled, and of course, I mean, they had 1,000 penalties in the first quarter last week. It's the same thing that beats them over and over and over again. The issue is there's not a TCU on the other side that plays fundamentally sound.
Well, that's it. Yeah,
but you do have
there's nobody on the other side that's going to knock that ball out.
You do have a similarly talented team with Oklahoma on the other side, and if you give up big plays and whatnot, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. Tad Nelson said, I can't imagine it either, but I couldn't imagine Iowa State beating them last Saturday. It's true.
I mean, I could have. I saw that. I mean, not that I saw it happening, but
Big King BJ said Texas will win 100% guaranteed. Oklahoma is horrible on both sides. Their offensive line has got major league issues. Major league issues. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Virginia Tech heading to Chapel Hill. North Carolina is knocking this thing out, man. They're a 5-point favorite. Everybody loves the Tar Heels. The total is 60 here. It's 12 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. North Carolina has sold everybody a bill of goods. I ain't buying it. I'll go ahead and tell you, this is one of my official picks. I love Virginia Tech in this spot. The prediction tracker has got it, North Carolina, as a 3-point favorite. Not 6, not 5, not whatever it has been. Virginia Tech 6-1 against the spread and straight up in the last 7 years against North Carolina.
Don't think Fuente can't go in there and win this game.
100%. Virginia Tech 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games as a dog. And then, of course, this week, you've got quarterback Hendon Hooker coming back.
They have a lot of guys coming back.
Oh, yes. They have got a lot of dudes coming back, and they have looked good without those guys. Their running game in the last 2 weeks against Duke and against NC State has gone for over 300 yards. They are averaging on the season 7.1 yards per carry on 93 carries.
I do think that number comes down. I respect North Carolina's defense more than that. I'm not just here to crap all over North Carolina. I think they're overrated in this situation.
I think they can still win the game. Sam Howell is still a good quarterback. I think they are way too much.
And my other thing is and this will be a trend on the show, I think home field advantage is still getting too much credit.
Yes.
If this number opens up at North Carolina -2 instead of -5, I think that's a way better number.
Yeah.
I think it's a way better number.
Or even just a field goal.
Something of that nature. I think they're still getting 3 points for home field advantage, and there's nothing that has shown me we should give anything for home field advantage in today's world with so few fans.
Oh, yes. Oh, 100%. I will say this. I think that Virginia Tech has since the beginning of last season, they have just been completely underestimated. Everybody seems
they should. Rightfully so.
Well,
they have lost the Old Dominion game. Every year they have lost bad football games.
And
so they brought that on
themselves.
Duke. Yeah, last year was Duke. They brought that on themselves. That's our guy, Fuente.
Agreed.
Absolutely brought it on himself. This team
They kind of got it figured out.
Completely depleted with COVID. Talked about how they didn't know that they could pull up a full roster in the first week that they finally played. And they came out looking like gangbusters. And I thought,
oh, yeah.
What was this just all smoke and mirrors?
I mean, possibly.
I mean, was the COVID stuff just gamesmanship?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It could have been coach speak, possibly, but they did have dudes out.
We've got 2 weeks of straight of them looking pretty spectacular.
Yes.
I think forget all the hype that we heard off season and forget all the COVID stuff. I've seen 2 games of North Carolina. I've seen 2 games of Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech's the better football team.
And that's without their starting quarterback.
My question is this: if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Agreed.
Did the starting quarterback lose his job?
Well, what's the guys? Whoever the backup was 9 out of 25 passing last week. For Virginia Tech. So
you're right. Yeah,
you got to have some kind
They're
of
just running the football down everyone's throat.
Yes. Let's jump into the comments here. Robert Darisaw says Bill O'Brien at Texas. He did good at Penn State. I don't think anybody wants to touch Bill O'Brien, but maybe.
No, I disagree with that. He took over a complete catastrophe at Penn State, and he did a pretty good job at it.
Yes. No, I think maybe you're right. Maybe
he's
you're
an
right.
awful GM. He's a pretty good coach.
He maybe. We'll see. Look ahead games will do that to a team, says BZ Baby SID or SLD. Robert S. said first time for everything. Oklahoma's defense sucks. Let's see. I do think that we'll beat Oklahoma. I'm still concerned about Iowa State, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State. That's Alex Martin. Chad Nelson said, I like North Carolina, but you guys do have a point. Virginia Tech has done miracles with how many players have been out. And Punt School said, if you like unders, sit and wait. In Chapel Hill, it's going to be overs. That total will continue to climb. I think I might agree with the over 60 here. I think both teams will be able to put up points.
I do. I don't think this North Carolina team is going to slow them down a lot.
No,
I think they're going to slow them down. They're not going to run for 350 yards.
Yeah.
But I still think they're going to put up points.
There you go. Parlay King 513 jumps in. He said, what's up, fellas? Just in time for us to move on to game number 5. Florida, a 6.5-point favorite at Texas A&M. It's rotation 333, 334. And I had to mention the rotation on this one because 333, lucky number 3. That's, I've got it tattooed on me. That's what I do. But yeah, Florida, so Prediction Tracker says that the analytics should have made this Florida minus 8.5. Again, maybe a little home field advantage. Too much going on here?
Yeah.
It seemed like Florida was the significantly better team. And I understand A&M played against Alabama, but A&M also did not look great against Vanderbilt. Florida has looked pretty damn good in both games that they've played against South Carolina and Ole Miss.
This is completely another one of those situations where A&M is getting credit for a home field that they're just not going to have.
And people thinking that A&M is better than what they actually are. I have watched both games from that team. I don't think they're very good.
Yeah, they can't stop anybody in the secondary.
Yeah,
and this is not the last couple of years of Florida team. This is Steve Spurrier Florida team. They gonna let her rip.
Yeah,
they are throwing the football. They're throwing it down the field, and those small DBs at Texas A&M, they're not going to stop them.
Well, they're not fast enough. And Kyle Pitts is just
he's a monster.
He's just ridiculous.
And I said this in the recap show or whatever, Sunday. Nobody in the country is guarding that guy.
Oh, agree.
There's not a DB or a linebacker in college football that's guarding him.
Now, Isaiah Simmons at Clemson last year could have.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But
I don't know.
Tom Lowe said, them Kyle's going to have a great day. Yeah. Chad said, me looking at some numbers, like to compare from team to team, Florida should beat them handily.
I think so, too.
He said, only thing that worries me at all is Florida is giving up yards. A&M can hang around in this game, though. So
this is one of those games we like the over in.
That's an official play for me. I'm going over the 57. This is absurd.
Yep.
There is no reason that this number should be below 60. It should be below maybe 65. I mean, it's key numbers. I understand all that good stuff.
Yes.
But look, over 57 is a play for me. Like this is.
Yeah, Florida's going to give up yards, and Florida's going to give up points. That defense isn't locked down. The defense isn't shut down. And A&M, they can move the football down the field.
Yes.
They are still a capable big play school on offense, and I just don't think they're consistent enough or strong enough to keep this within a touchdown.
Let's see, Punt School said Gators over 31.5 team total. Good look here as well. Punt School, I would love to know where you got team total lines already.
Yeah,
typically those come out on
we don't
on
usually
Wednesday,
get those until Saturday.
But no, some come out on Wednesday. It just depends on the book.
Okay.
So, Florida 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 as a road favorite. A&M 3-6-1 against the spread their last 10 as a home dog. They just cannot cover at home. It's kind of ridiculous.
Well, when they're a home dog, it's usually because the other team is significantly better than them, but they get a lot of credit for that 100,000 seat stadium.
Oh yeah,
and that place gets rocking. It's hard to get rocking when you're getting beat.
Agreed. Florida has gone over 8 out of their last 10 games on the road. I think we might have another one here.
Yeah,
might have another one here.
I like the over in this game.
Let's move into the interesting games. We've got several that we want to at least do like a rapid fire hit on. 363, 364, Coastal Carolina is heading to Louisiana. Louisiana, a 7-point favorite here. The total is 50. Prediction Tracker has it ULL minus 8.9. I am not touching this game. I think I'm probably going to toss Coastal in my money line round robin again.
Yeah, it wouldn't. Excuse me. It wouldn't surprise me or shock me for Coastal to pull this game out. Louisiana, after their Iowa State win, has just lived by the hair of their chinny chin chin. Just barely hanging on to victories.
Yeah. Punt School said, I'm in Australia. Our book has them out early. Can also roughly work it out using full game total and line for an estimation. That is true. Coastal plus 7, says Chad Nelson. Yeah.
That's the only play I would make.
Yeah.
If you told me you've got to make a pick, it's Coastal. I can't take Louisiana again.
Yeah. I mean, they've won on the last play of the game, the last 2 games. Like, it's just ridiculous. One a field goal, one in overtime with a touchdown. Moving on, Texas Tech and Iowa State. Iowa State, a 12.5-point favorite. Total is 64.5. And I understand Alan Bowman went out with an injury, and oh my goodness, everything's blowing up for Texas Tech. What are we going to do? Iowa State looked fantastic. They got the win over Oklahoma. Iowa State is 1-3 under Matt Campbell against the spread the week after the Oklahoma game. They put a whole lot into that Oklahoma game every single season. Now, I understand they have fared well against Texas Tech. I get that. Texas Tech has also been kind of down. They've also gotten Texas Tech whenever their quarterback has been hurt. So it's been kind of an issue. And if Alan Bowman is out this week, yeah, who knows? But the backup quarterback for Texas Tech, and I forget his name, I think it's Hayden something or other, he came in and looked spectacular against Kansas State. He looked good. So I don't think there's that big of an issue here. I love Texas Tech in this spot. That is actually one of my official plays. I think this is way too many points. Every time Iowa State, I'll say this, Iowa State is Iowa State 1-8 against the spread as a 10-plus point home favorite in the last 9. Texas Tech 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 as a 10-plus point road dog. So, and then of course, like I said, Iowa State 1-3 against the spread in the last 4 years after playing Oklahoma. I mean, this seems easy to me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Texas Tech is the only way to go. You have an inflation for home field advantage, and you have a complete overreaction of Iowa State just beating Oklahoma.
And Texas Tech getting beat last week.
And Texas Tech getting beat. That's right. But it doesn't matter. I don't know that matters. I just think this is just way too many points.
Let's see. Chad said Coastal looks good. Honestly, not a bad squad. Let's see. Grant says Louisiana plus 8. Man, if you got a teaser that's 15 points, let me know where that is.
I don't know what kind of odds you're having to lay to get plus 8. I wouldn't do it.
Let's see. Louisiana Tech minus 15.5. I have. You know what? Some of these games we're not going to be able to hit on today because it is a shorter show.
Just can't hit all of them.
Jump in with us on Saturday morning. We will have a question and answer session. Of course, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We go over the closing lines. That gives us even more time to study every single game on the board. I will have an opinion on literally everything come Saturday morning.
I will tell you, one person asked Navy or Temple. I'm not betting one nickel on Navy.
We're going to...
Is that one of the games you're covering?
Yes, that is one of them.
Never mind.
That is one of them. We'll talk about it here momentarily. Let's go ahead and move into Pittsburgh at Boston College. This is Pitt minus 6 right now. Total of 44, which the total sounds about right.
Well, the total's fine. I don't understand this line. I don't understand this line.
It opened at 3 or 3.5. and it's risen all the way up to 6. I don't understand what people are seeing with Pitt's offense, right? That they would be able to cover anything. Pitt 1-4-1 against the spread. Their last 6 as a favorite. Boston College actually beat them at Pitt last year, 26-19. Boston College 7-1-1 against the spread. Their last 9 as a home underdog. On top of that, the analytics say that Pitt should be favored by half a point, and it's on the road.
And you can find it 6.5.
I mean, it's just that's insane.
I think the line's wrong.
Yeah,
I just think it's flat wrong.
Yeah,
maybe a lot.
Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Moving on from that, Kansas State at TCU is the next game up. TCU is a 9-point favorite in this one. The total is 50.5. That's come down from 54.5. Good gracious. Again, overreaction time.
Yes.
I understand Kansas State beat Oklahoma, and then they beat Texas Tech. This is overreaction to Skylar Thompson, the quarterback for Kansas State, possibly being out of this game. But Chris Kleiman has come out, said everything looks all right. He got a bruise. He got a hit on his arm. He missed the second half, but their backup quarterback looked fantastic. I mean, threw for 2 touchdowns late in the game.
Looked just fine.
That offense rolled right along.
But that's a well-coached team that doesn't rely on a great quarterback.
This was another situation. Kansas State 4-1 against the spread against TCU the last 5. TCU 0-5 against the spread the week after playing Texas the last 5 years.
Yep.
Whether they win or lose,
they hang with Texas. They beat Texas a lot.
Yep.
And then they have a little bit of a letdown.
And prediction tracker average says that this number should be -4.5 for TCU.
That's exact. I mean, somewhere between 5 and a pick.
Yeah. I mean, it's that would make more sense. A field goal kind of game.
Yes.
Seems about right.
Seems right.
It is sitting at 9 is just absurd.
I just thought that was too much. Open at 8.5.
Jonathan Biava said so much Big 12 parity, it's too much overreaction. Chad Nelson said I would take Kansas State. Yep, that's an official pick from me as well.
Picks.
Yeah,
too many points.
Just crazy. Let's see. Punt said, is there a more overvalued team than Pittsburgh in college football right now? BC money line, let alone the points. Boston College. I mean, they had 3 touchdowns called back against North Carolina.
Yeah,
like they've got some fundamentals that they got to work on.
Well, yeah, but hang on, that North Carolina game, that was an opening game from a new coaching staff, right?
Well, third game. From
okay, yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like they are still working through the kinks that Steve Addazio left there, and I love Steve Addazio, but they're trying to implement a new system.
Yeah,
it's going to take a little bit of time.
It's a new offense.
I would definitely toss Boston College into a money line round robin.
Yes,
100%.
Yes.
So, with that said, let's move on. Alabama heads over to Ole Miss. They're going to Oxford. Ain't nobody going to be in the Grove this year. Alabama, a 23-point favorite. The total opened at 78.5. In 2 days, it has been bet down to 67.5. What am I missing?
What did I say when it opened at 78.5?
You said it's not enough points.
Not enough points.
This looks like a 62-31 kind of ball game because Alabama still got a really young secondary. Texas A&M was able to throw on them last week. They have given up points to Missouri and A&M. They are absolutely going to give up points to Lane Kiffin. You know Kiffin's got stuff up his sleeve.
No one in the country is holding Ole Miss to less than 30. No one in the country is holding them less than 30.
Let's not go crazy. You said that about Mississippi State too, and Arkansas held them to 14. So
okay, I said that about Ole Miss, and I've been right so far. 2 games straight.
This is true.
So I'm wrong on one so far. 2 times in a row. I got 2 overs with Ole Miss. I'm 1-1 betting on Ole Miss.
That's true. That's true. And really, you could have been 2-0 because I mean they were right there at the goal line at the end of the game.
They're with Florida.
I like the over 67. I don't know what's going on here.
Alabama's defense is very good at stopping the run.
Yeah.
Their front 7, their linebackers are tough. Throwing the football, they are giving up big plays all over the field.
Punt School said total movement largely due to high winds forecast from my understanding. Yes, hurricane coming through, all that kind of stuff we talked about for Athens.
We're pretty far away from the coast.
We are. It's supposed to hit on Saturday morning in Louisiana.
That is a long way from Oxford, brother.
So we'll see. Now, I talked about it hitting in Athens on Saturday. It's probably not. I would love to see some rain in Athens.
We get rain. Rain is different than high winds.
Yeah.
We're a long way from the coast. I mean, people come here to get away from it.
Yeah. And it's a 5 p.m. game, so it may get some wins there, maybe. I don't think it's going to matter. I think both. Well, of these
Alabama's going to hang 60 no matter what. It could be a,
it could be running the ball.
They're just going to run the football right down Ole Miss's throat. They could hang 60. Alabama's punter doesn't need to show up for this game.
The only way that Alabama doesn't hang 60 is if Alabama gets up 31-7 and they are able to run the ball consistently at 5 yards a clip.
There's zero chance that Nick Saban takes his foot off the gas in this game.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. This is
a Lane Kiffin wants to be a thorn in his side, and he knows it. And if he has a chance to squash that bug, he's going to squash it. Problem is I don't know that he can. Yeah, I think your defense, you're an Alabama fan, your defense is not great in the secondary. I think Lane is going, but I've said this, it's not long drives because I think this offense is going to struggle for Ole Miss in the trenches.
Yes.
It is big plays. They score in 3-play drives, and that's how they're going to score. And Alabama is absolutely vulnerable to big plays right now.
Yes, you are correct about that. Temple is going to Navy, and they are favored by 3. The total is 50 here.
Temple's first game of the year, right?
First game of the year. This is the 3rd team out of 4 that Navy has had to play a team for their first game. And it's just ridiculous. I believe that the number sits at teams that have not played against teams that have are 14-3-1 against the spread this year. It's just ridiculous. This opened as a pick'em very quickly. Was bet out to Temple -3. The numbers say that Navy should be favored by a field goal, or not a field goal, sorry, a point. Temple is 6-1 against the spread their last 7 times against Navy. Also, to stretch it out even further, 6-1 against the spread their last 7 times playing at Navy. Kind of nuts, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
So, with that said, now, obviously they didn't win all of those games because they have been underdogs in some of them. But I don't know. I like Temple. I really liked them under the last 2 coaches. I don't know how much I like Rod Carey. I like Anthony Russo coming back as a senior quarterback.
I do too.
That's going to be good. I think the running game will always do well.
I do too.
Do you have thoughts here?
Yeah, I do. I think Navy's really bad at football.
That Tulane game throws me off every time.
No, you just got to throw it away. Tulane just shat all over themselves. You can't let that jack up everything else that we've seen. We've got enough data to know Navy's not good at football.
Yeah.
They're just not. You just keep picking against them.
Chad Nelson said, I noticed that trend as well, Chris, and used that trend. Landed me 6 out of 7 on a parlay. Screw you, West Virginia. All right, let's move into the next game. Florida State going to Notre Dame. NBC made this a primetime game.
Well, it's just NBC going to put Notre Dame on prime.
And it makes sense, right?
They're just always going to have Notre Dame at 5 o'clock.
It's a big name team that's coming in. Florida State, obviously, a lot of tradition.
I think all of Notre Dame games are at 5 o'clock.
No, most of them are at 1:30.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Home games?
Home games.
The NBC games?
Yes, they didn't even have lights in that stadium a couple of years ago. It's always been like this.
I think you're thinking 10 years ago is a couple of years ago.
No. It was like 2 years ago. I promise. We'll figure it out. We'll go through this off the air.
It's not important.
But Florida State is a 21-point underdog in this game. The total is 52, and that's actually come down a little bit. Am I correct about that? Did it come down or did it go up? Now I'm questioning myself.
54 it opened. It's 52
okay,
now. You can find it at 51.5.
So the only question in this game is,
will Florida State score?
Well, it's what is Florida State going to look like with another new quarterback? This is the 4th game of the season for them?
Yep.
And this is the 3rd different starting quarterback. Jordan Travis came in and looked pretty good. Now that was against Jacksonville State. He was more mobile in the pocket. He was able to get out and run a little more. I feel weird about this game. I don't know what to expect. I think Notre Dame is going to demolish them in the trenches. Yep. The only issue is Notre Dame has not played in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, but that's been a little bit matter. That
just
has not affected much of anything.
It may not affect anything at all. If I had to go one way or the other, I'd go Notre Dame.
Yeah, this is one of my gambling picks.
Okay.
I got Notre Dame. I got Notre Dame big. I think they're going to beat the hell out of them.
Last on the interesting games here, I've got Mississippi State going to Lexington, Kentucky. They're playing in old Commonwealth Stadium. What's it called now? Kroger Field?
Yes,
right?
Kroger Field.
Kentucky is a 2-point favorite. Now, they opened as a 3-point favorite. That has come down a little bit. 58.5 is the total. Don't feel good about that total. I don't know what to make of it. It's gone up 3 points. It opened at 55.5, and it's gone up to 58.5. The numbers at Prediction Tracker have this as, Kentucky minus 1.9. So it's about right on the number. Talent advantage lies with Mississippi State, and pretty significantly. It's when you go by the analytics, it's about a 4-point swing for Mississippi State as far as talent goes. Kylan Hill is expected to play in this game. He missed the majority of the Arkansas game with a concussion.
Yes.
And that was a big deal.
Early.
And so, because they had several fourth downs that they would typically just give it to him and he'd be able to get it.
Go get a yard.
But they tried, sneaking the quarterback. They tried running a different guy, all that, and they couldn't get the yard. Cost them at the end. They didn't win the game. I think this is a bit of an overreaction. Mississippi State has fared insanely well against Kentucky. I think they've won 7 of the last 9 against Kentucky. If I had to roll one way or the other, I would roll with Mississippi State to get the outright win here. I think this is a bounce back spot for them. I also understand that Kentucky is a little bit desperate after losing the first 2 games.
It's the only thing that scares me.
Yes.
It's
a desperate
Kentucky
team.
starting now 0-3. It's
Yeah.
not something that I expected to happen.
Caliph Peso jumps in and said, I tell immediately that Chris loves Notre Dame.
Yes.
That's well, I think he's talking about you just like Notre Dame, period. Like, not in this game. I'm just talking overall.
I mean, I
Look at
don't dislike Notre Dame.
He comes from a good Catholic family. I mean, my goodness.
Come from Catholics.
Yeah. Caliph Peso said, I hit good Saturday, played Florida live, got a minus 6.5 on FanDuel. Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Tennessee were no-brainers. Caliph said, I got here late tonight. I'll rewatch. Appreciate that. Everybody go back and rewatch it. Make sure you like the video, by the way, since you're already here. Everybody that's here watching, we appreciate you jumping in the comments. So like the video, subscribe, etc. What you got?
Frank on here is talking about the dying hurricane, whatever. He thinks that the lane should be the line for the Ole Miss game should be 50 because of all the rain. I went to AccuWeather. It is supposed to be heavy rain.
By 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Central Time. So it is supposed to be heavy rain. Maybe.
Man.
Maybe my little half unit bet ain't gonna pay out on the over 67 on here.
Yeah,
but that's okay. That's not one of my official plays. I'm not telling you to take it.
So.
But we'll figure it out. Caliph said his facial expressions.
I used to hate them, but it wasn't I never hated Notre Dame. I really despised Brian Kelly. Did a complete 180 on him.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
I believe people can change.
So James Lill said, what games would you 7-point teaser this weekend? Well, hey, buddy, we got that coming up. Let's go ahead and knock out our official picks. We're going to start with mine, Gary's official picks for this week. I've got 7 of them. So let's go ahead and knock it out. Virginia Tech plus 5.5 at Chapel Hill. Now, obviously, you can go over to sbrodds.com. Go find them over there, or sbrpicks.com/NCAAF and click on odds right up there at the top. Best way to go check it out because you can obviously look at our stuff as well. But from there, Virginia Tech plus 5.5 at Chapel Hill at North Carolina. South Carolina minus 12.5 at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is awful. 1-9 against the spread their last 10 as a home dog. And South Carolina 10-0 straight up against Vandy the last 10 years, and 6-3-1 against the spread against them. This is South Carolina's last chance to get a real, massive victory. This is self-esteem booster right here.
Yes.
And it's less than 2 touchdowns.
We all need a slump buster.
South Carolina has got Auburn, LSU, and A&M coming up.
Well, listen.
Just saying.
We've all been there.
Texas Tech plus 12.5. We already went over that one. I like Auburn minus 13.5 against Arkansas. This is overreaction central. Good gracious. Auburn kills Arkansas every single year. They're 6-1 against the spread against them the last 7 years. What are we doing? This is insane. I don't understand this at all. Arkansas gets a win, and everybody just assumes that they're going to hang with Auburn just because Auburn got smashed by Georgia. Auburn gets smashed by Georgia every year. It's the same thing. Gus and Chad Morris will have things in store for Arkansas this week. Guarantee it. Pittsburgh at Boston College. I'm taking the BC Eagles and Jeff Hafley plus 6.5. I think they got a chance to win the game outright. Kansas State plus 9 at TCU. Already went over that one. And Florida, Texas A&M over 56.5. I love that one. Moving on to Chris's picks.
All right. I got a lot of them. We got a little Friday night special. Take Louisville -4 at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is exactly the team that we thought they were going to be before they beat Florida State. Don't worry about that.
Is that down to 4?
That yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Yeah, that opened 6.5.
That's right. That's right. And everybody's on Georgia Tech. They're all fools. I have not been good, so we're going to bet a lot and see if we can get out of this thing. I like your Virginia Tech +5.5. I was on that. Florida -6.5 at A&M. I think it's just way short. I think this line is 3 to 4 points short. South Carolina is going to get the slump buster. You cannot start Vanderbilt less than -14.
Yeah.
Anything less than -14, you just take the other team. Vanderbilt's not good at football. Another team I don't think is good at football. Duke going to Syracuse. Syracuse is the dog catching 2.5. I just think that's wrong. I just think that's wrong. I think the wrong team's favored here. Give me Syracuse +2.5. Texas Tech, I'm with you, +12.5. That's going to cover, and I think they got a chance to win the game. Alabama Ole Miss. I'm starting to get a little weird feelings because of the rain and the things, but you know what? I'm a man of my word. I picked this game. I've told everybody to take this game. Give me the over 67 and give me the Rebels +23.5. We're going 3 weeks in a row on the lane train, baby. Give me Notre Dame -20.5. They're going to beat the fool out of Florida State. I just believe that Florida State cannot hang with them in the trenches at all. And my LSU Tigers are going to take out a little bit of frustration from week 1 embarrassment. They got to beat up on poor little old Vandy. Now they're going to beat up on poor little old Mizzou. These are the 2 worst teams in the SEC. Nothing feels better when you take a big loss at home than kicking the crap out of 2 teams that you're just way better than.
So would you feel the same if they moved the game to Columbia?
Yeah, I don't think home field advantage matters at all.
Because LSU has already booked rooms in Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah, no, hang on. I like that better because I guarantee you I'm going to play the 20.5. I'm a man of my word. That's what the number is today. When this game gets moved to Columbia, it'll go down a point or 2 because for some reason they think home field advantage actually does something this year. And we've got 5 weeks of saying it does not matter. And therefore LSU is going to get a little bump and take a little pressure off.
All right. So you're taking LSU -20.5.
20.5.
I like it. James Lilstead, can you talk about the Marshall game against Western Kentucky?
I like Marshall a lot this year.
I like Marshall.
Not official pick. I'm already making too damn many, but
I will study it more in time for the Saturday morning show. Remember, 11 a.m. Eastern time, Saturday morning. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. We do the closing line show there Saturday morning, so make sure you jump in. We have a Q&A there. You can jump in. We'll talk about every game on the board.
My only fear with Marshall right now is they're a very big public play. That line has already moved up 2.5 points.
Yeah.
If it hits a touchdown, I'm walking away. I think that's too much.
I mean, we'll see. We will see. Let's move into parlays. You don't have any parlays, do you?
I don't, man. I can't get any of these damn things right. Why would I play a trick bet?
My money line parlay and my 7-point teaser both hit last week, so I'm going back to the well. I'm knocking it out again. Here is my money line parlay for the week. I've got Louisville, Florida, South Carolina, Auburn, and Notre Dame, all just to win. All I got to do is win. Just win. That's right. And it's +224 if you bet just the money line for those 5 teams. So $10.
You didn't throw Alabama in that?
No, I ain't throwing Alabama in that. Are you kidding me? I can't do that. Can't do that. Not this week. It's lane train, baby. I don't know what's going on with them. 7-point teaser.
That makes me smile.
I'm terrified.
I just had to say it.
I'm terrified of this game. The 7-point teaser here. Florida as a pick'em. South Carolina well, I guess at this point it's 12.5. It'd be 5.5. Virginia Tech +12 and Temple +4. Those are what I like. That's my 7-point teaser. So take Florida, South Carolina, Virginia Tech, and Temple in your 7-point play. That pays out +200. I feel good. Let's see. Punt School said, I know you said you chat team totals on the weekend show, but Chris, under 16.5 for Missouri already locked in here.
Oh, no, 100%. Vanderbilt and Missouri team totals, just every week take the under. Those teams are going to struggle to score against everyone.
They make it look hard to score against air. I will tell you that.
They're going to struggle to score against anyone.
All right. Is there anything else we need to hit
Man,
right
I
now?
think that's it. Thank you guys so much for jumping in.
Yes. Make sure that you like the video, that you subscribe to the channel, jump in the comments, leave your picks. We want to know what you think for the rest of the week. We will be back here on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time for the closing line show. It's going to be a good time. Don't forget the Pick 6 contest, sbrpicks.com/pick6. You can find the link down in the description, of course, and sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. We can't wait for another fantastic week. It's going to be a good time. Thank you all so much. Thanks to our crew in the back, Fabian, everybody else that is knocking this thing out. You guys are fantastic. For sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we will see you all again Saturday.